In effect, Lions Avenue for the 2024-2025 season. We missed you guys last season, but we turned out to be a 12-win team, made it all the way to the NFC Championship, and came within closing everything out in one quarter of football from playing the eventual champion Kansas City Chiefs. Well, a lot has happened since then. We're back. We're going to get into the Detroit Lions offseason so far really quick, as well as the 2024-2025 schedule. What are some of the big games on that schedule? What are some of the potential pitfalls? Where's the streaks, winning wise, losing wise? We back. All right, brother. It's been a long time. We've been doing our thing on Facebook, but we are back where we all started. YouTube, the king of all this, with
Yeah,
Lions Avenue, here to bring you the best home team coverage. Shanti, what's been going on? Brand new
but
logo, brand new everything.
I know I like it, man. I like everything about it. You know what I'm saying? It's a long time coming. Like I said, we last year, we learned a lot, like as far as like man, the do's and the don'ts and this, this industry we're in, you know what I'm saying? That's what this was all about, man. This is what the people want, you know what I'm saying? We've been, like saying, we want to have a broader audience, a more wider, because we interact with the people. So I think that this show is unique because we care about our followers, man, our watchers. You know what I'm saying? We always want to talk Lions. You know what I'm saying? That's the number one thing. And to have our platform just to blow up how it has been, saying within our peers and everything is it's good to see, you know what I'm saying. So for me, I'm thankful just to be able to do this with you know what I'm saying, because we let's be honest. I mean, we all doing it because first of all, we love the game of football, and then number two is not like you said during the pre-show. Our Lions are actually a good team, man. You know what I'm saying? I mean, when we started this show, it was like it almost seemed like a pipe dream, man. To ever think that we'd be a actual candidate, Walt, to make the Super Bowl, man. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's a reality now that this team could do it. You know what I'm saying? And we're here to break it down. Like I said, we appreciate all the love that we get, you know what I'm saying? Just people, email, texting me and telling me, I've seen people and say they watch the show. So, to have us back full time, YouTube is a it's a privilege, man. It's an honor. I'm glad. I'm happy for the season. It's 59 days until we play first preseason game against the Giants, man. You know what I'm saying? So right now we here. You know what I mean? We don't it's full steam ahead from here. So, shout out to engineering, to the new look, to the theme song. Walt Dollar hooked us up, you know what I'm saying? Just really put the icing on the cake. So I think we ready to go, man. Walt Dollar put it on the tee for us with that intro. So now we gotta do it. You know what I'm saying? It's up to us now to bring it. So let's do it.
Definitely, definitely. Shout out to Walt Dollar. Walt
Mhm.
Dollar for the intro music.
Yeah.
If you guys want intro music, whether you rap, sing, do podcasting like we do, hit that man up. He's got all the tunes for everything you need.
Mhm.
So yeah, man. I think last time, well, we weren't on YouTube at that time. We were on Facebook, everywhere else.
Mhm.
Last time we checked in with a lot of our viewers, there was the Kendall Vildor situation. There was the Josh Reynolds drop. There was the Jameer Gibbs fumble. There was the complete fourth quarter meltdown of our Detroit Lions. We started so great. I know I was hyping the first quarter of that game, second quarter of that game, midway through the second quarter of that game until San Francisco started to turn the tide a little bit. But a lot of our issues, a lot of our glaring issues were put on full display in that particular game. Also, our youth. our lack of experience,
Mm-hmm.
and the San Francisco 49ers glutton of experience was also on display.
Yep.
That's nothing for us to hang our heads about, whether you're Dan Campbell, you're Brad Holmes, you're Jared Goff, whoever on that team. Things happen. Sometimes the ball bounces the way it bounces. But since that day,
Yeah.
Carlton Davis is here. The Cam Sutton saga has come and gone. As you mentioned in the pre-show, Cam Sutton is now back in Pittsburgh. Carlton Davis, former Tampa Bay Buccaneers, now here. Amik Robertson, former Las Vegas Raider, is now here via
Yep.
free agency. We spent our first 2 draft picks on the cornerback position. Terrion Arnold, Alabama, Ennis Rakestraw of Missouri. Completely new secondary, at least at the cornerback position. Chauncey Gardner's gone, of course. But overall, in theory, on paper, we believe we've improved in the secondary for that part. Um, Kevin Zeitler on the offensive line. Jonah's now gone. Kevin Zeitler, big time vet in this league, has been around for a while. He's a complete upgrade at that spot. On paper, we appear to be a very better football team. Now, people may say, well, you didn't make the sexy big splash plays in free agency or in the draft for that matter. But if you take a team that was a 12-win team a year ago that recognized what their issues were, what their flaws were, and they put forth a conscious effort early on in the offseason to solve those situations. What are your thoughts on the team right now, roster-wise?
Oh man, when you look at this Lions roster, first thing I think about is, being able to be a team that's deep, man. You know what I'm saying? To be able to withstand, um, if we have an injury or two, you know what I'm saying? I think the secondary is gonna shake itself out. You know what I mean? I think people can pump the brakes on thinking that, that the secondary is kind of overcrowded. Listen, we always say it, like, this team may look like totally different when it will be totally different when they suit up and play against the Rams Sunday night to start the season. You know what I'm saying? Well, um, but I do look at a team that could be devoid. I think the biggest elephant in the room still with this team is the pass rush. You know what I'm saying? But they have some guys that they're counting on, man. I think that right now they're clearly counting on Marcus Davenport. You know what I'm saying? They're clearly counting on Matthew Betts, a young man from Canada, you know what I'm saying, which I'm hearing some good things about already. They're counting on Walt James Houston, you know what I'm saying, to come back and be a guy. They're counting on DJ Reader up the middle. You know what I'm saying? It's just a lot of, I think the biggest, at least for me, I'm more, I'm in the camp of this team being able to really make a statement defensively than they were last year. I think they're better. I think that this team, well, remember last year we was just like, man, we're not gonna stop anybody. We pretty much got to outscore people. I think this year we can expect this team. At least I will. I'm gonna expect this team, Walter, at least defensively to be better. Maybe not right out the gate
Well, we
because
did get a big surprise from the run defense
yeah,
last year.
yeah.
They were completely better than what they were the year before. We can't give
Mhm.
them that. Now the cornerback position, yeah, that was hit or miss, but I think to their credit, we have seen them get notches better the past 2-3 years.
Yeah. Yeah, correct. And it's I mean, I'm looking at who's gonna well, Carlton Davis, is Terrion Arnold gonna be the truth, man? You know what I'm saying? I don't want to be a developmental guy, where we took him. I mean, Terrion Arnold's got to start, man. To start the season, man. And I would feel a lot better if Terrion Arnold just came and just took the bull by the horns and just, like, you know what I'm saying? And like, we don't have to worry about this guy. You know what I'm saying? He's out there while he's starting week one, game one. And we go from there. I think that's gonna just boost this whole defense, to be able to cover, to be able to show that we can stop we can stop the other team, and when we need to stop, we can go get it. You know what I'm saying? Not hoping that the drive stalls, because I did that last year. Like we play like Green Bay, and Jordan Love just came up and down the field. We're just like, man, we just hoping that the other team didn't execute. to stop the drive. I think now we can get off the field on third down. I think that's what this team's going to try to establish, especially in preseason, man, to get that pass rush going. Very interesting. Marcus Davenport is an interesting signing, man. I wasn't expecting. I thought that he might be like the beginning stages of getting somebody else, but they may not even get nobody. You know what I'm saying? I think Betts and Houston and Davenport, them the guy. I think that's where they're going with, Walt, to start this start the season. So that for pass rush for me was checklist number one. You know what I'm saying? So I rather more so than corner. I want the pass rush to be better.
Yeah. Davenport is intriguing because I think in theory he's exactly what we need on the other end of that defensive line opposite Hutchinson. He's a big time, huge power rusher who can also get out in the open and play the run as well and contain. He's that prototypical 4-2-5 defensive end. You know, the guy that can stand in there, hold his own and run support, as well as power rush the quarterback on third down, third and long. The whole thing with him, I think, is the injury questions. If Davenport's healthy, I see him as a 7 to 8 sack type of guy with a ceiling of maybe 11. Because the talent is still there. You look at like guys his size, edge rushers with his size, he's kind of a throwback defensive end, but defensive ends with his size and his power rushing ability.
Yeah.
You seen the potential in him a couple years ago with the Saints, the 9 sack season. Now that seems like 10 years ago almost. But this is a guy that Sean Payton drafted in New Orleans. First round pick. He was kind of a guy that they took a chance on, started slow, but he eventually reached his peak there, his talent level there, what they thought he could be. And then, the injuries, the nagging injuries started to take over. That 1 year in Minnesota was rough for him, but hopefully he's a guy that gets rejuvenated here and kind of gets that second career going, because if he works out, I think on defense, aside from the guys that we drafted, we desperately need another one of these guys to develop into like, oh, whoa, wait a minute. Like the Anzalone situation, like none of us really expected Anzalone when he first got here to keep the job. He was supposed to be a mainstay. Jack Campbell was supposed to come in and take over for him or whatnot. Anzalone turned out to be even more comfortable year 3 within this defense. And now it's like, whoa, wait a minute. No, I'm not going nowhere because I'm comfortable and I want to play here too and I can contribute. I think we really need, outside of the young guys, and I don't even put Jack Campbell in this conversation because Jack Campbell is still a young guy, still learning. And that Mike position is a position in the NFL that's very difficult to learn.
Yeah.
Guys typically don't just hit the ground running and at that spot right there, especially if they're not being asked to be pure pass rushers. So I think we really need somebody else, whether it's Davenport, whether it's Emmanuel Mosley. That's somebody else a lot of people aren't talking about. Like, what if Mosley's healthy and he can stay healthy?
Yeah.
We really hit the jackpot. Now we got an abundance of corners, and a position that started out as a glaring weakness for us may be a glaring strength now moving forward.
Yeah. Yeah. And I've seen already the, people, and rightfully so. I think Aaron Glenn, for the first time, I think since he's been, well, not the first time, but the first time, at least I'm going to say it. Well, I think he on a hot seat, man. You know what I'm saying? As far as him as a defensive coordinator, and I like Aaron Glenn. He's done wonders for.
What do you think he is with the team, or he is just with us, as far as like the fans and the local people here? Because I think they love him there.
Yeah, I do think they like Aaron Glenn, but my problem is, Walt. I mean, now that we've been, to the playoffs, I really do believe that that ain't good enough, man. You know what I'm saying? If it's a glaring need, this is what I mean. Like if people see Glenn that we still can't cover, we still not the guy. People are not in the right spot. People, you know what I'm saying? It's just the scheme has to fit our players. And I do believe Aaron Glenn. I do believe in him, but I don't know, man. Let's just say this thing falls off the rails and they don't win, or just because of, in spite of Let's just say that the offense comes to the party like he did last year, and we still can't stop anybody again. Let's say we come up short, NFC Championship game, that type of thing. Again, hell yeah, I think the spot's gonna be on him, man, and I think Campbell has already got rid of some guys. I mean, maybe not because he wanted to, but I do think he's not like a guy that will stick with somebody if it's not working. And so now Aaron Glenn on a short leash, I think. You know what I'm saying? That's what I believe. You know what I mean? I everybody like him, soft spot. I like him, but the bottom line is we done with the kid gloves on with this team. You know what I'm saying? I think
we done. We
we done
done
with
with
that.
Aaron Glenn Hunt. No,
No,
you know
I'm
what,
just
man?
saying, like, if it just
I think he got a fun team now. A fun. If I'm him as a defensive
yeah,
coordinator, because I've always viewed everything since I was a little kid. I've always viewed everything as far as the NFL teams, as college teams as well, is from a defensive perspective. If I'm him and I look at the fact that, okay, you know what, I can't sanction injuries. You know, I don't know when dudes are going to get hurt. I have zero idea which position group is going to get hit the worst when it comes to injuries. I don't know if DJ Reader is going to be injury riddled when he comes here, whatnot. Barring injuries, if you're telling me, okay, you know what, I got a Liam McNeil in year 3, look to really be ascending right now. I go out there and I put a Pro Bowl caliber nose next to him in DJ Reader, which
yeah,
tremendously helps out our run defense, which was already top 5 last year. He's a complete upgrade over Isaiah Buggs, complete as a player, as long as that guy is healthy.
yep,
You know, you bring in Marcus Davenport. You're hoping you can get the best out of him now at this stage in time in his career. Hopefully
yeah,
he's healthy. You're hoping that James Houston can build off of the end of the 2022 season, the flashes that we saw there. You got Jack Campbell, first round pick, year 2. You're hoping that he makes those next necessary steps to become an elite caliber player that you actually took in the first round. And then, like I said, you know, you got all the upgrades in the secondary at the cornerback position. You got so many different weapons. I would love this defense. I would love this roster. I got Melifonwu, who
yeah.
can play free safety. He can
Oh
play
yeah,
strong safety. He can play nickel corner against some tight ends, against bigger wide receivers. Like, prime example, Keenan Allen. Now you have someone who can line up in the slot.
yeah,
Not to say that he's as quick, short area wise as Keenan Allen, but
yeah,
now you have a 6'3", 215-pound corner that can get out there and can play physical, tough bumper run coverage with a guy like Keenan Allen, because Keenan Allen is going to play the slot. I'm thinking DJ Moore over there in Chicago is going to play in the perimeter a whole lot more. We don't know what's going on with the Dunze, whether he's coming along fast, quickly, slowly, whatever it may be.
yeah.
But you know, the Brian Brand situation, he's going to play more secondary, deep third. Um, of course, you got Kirby Joseph back there. You got so many guys in that secondary that when you decide to play dime, we can do so much.
Yeah.
That's why I'm not as worried about the edge rushers either. To your point, because listen, Branch can do it. Melifonwu can do it. He got a couple sacks last season. You know, you got Kirby Joseph, even though they don't blitz Kirby as much, they prefer to keep Kirby back in the deep quarters. But this is a defense that has so much versatility now. And I agree with you. As a defensive coordinator, if you can't look at this toolbox of tools that you have and figure shit out, maybe it is time to move on. Maybe it is, because this is now, it's like, okay, well, I gave him the benefit of the doubt after year 1. That room was terrible defensively.
Yeah, for sure. For
And me
sure.
and you've talked about this repeatedly. They spent so many resources on fixing the offense. And I get it. It's an offensive league for the most part. You go out there, you get the all-pro caliber left tackle. You get the big-time juice at wide receiver, Jameson Williams. You get a tight end. You get a running back. You have to be able to score points. Now I think they're starting to invest more assets in the defense. And now I think they're in a situation where, and I agree with you, in Spirit of Detroit, who's watching right now, he actually recently did a video on this. The excuses are over for Aaron Glenn now. And I gave him all the excuses. I was the one of the main people fighting for him on social media
Me too. Me
with
too. I
these
mean,
people
rightfully
because
so.
like, yeah, because like, okay, you know what? Have some common sense and cut this man some slack. When
Right.
it's obvious that they invest in so much of the money and so many of the resources on the offense,
Mm-hmm.
you have to give a guy a chance. Well, now he's got a chance and now he's got to prove it, brother. But let's
Right.
jump into what people really want to hear about, and that's this 2024-2025 schedule. I don't really have a prediction on it right now. I think a lot has to unfold over the next couple months, 2 months, 2.5 months. The roster is what it is. Of course, you got last second cuts for the most part, but this is the team that we're going to go into the next season with for the most part. We don't
Mm-hmm.
know about the injuries. You know, we just saw Khalil Dorsey get hurt earlier in the week, but this is a schedule, man, that I
Mm-hmm.
view it
I
as
like it.
something. Yeah, like some people say it's really difficult. Some people you think they're going to be a 12-win team again. Some people say, well, you know what, that's not an improvement. I personally believe that even if you're a good football team,
Mm-hmm.
you still have to respect the other 31 teams in the league. And to me,
Yeah.
when you look at this schedule going up and down, I'm gonna let you kick this off with everything that you want to talk about as far as this schedule. But when you look at this schedule, to go through this schedule and win 12 games, I think it's damn good. Because
Yeah.
ain't no cakewalks. And we even the teams like the Titans, except for maybe Jacksonville, Tennessee is very improved roster. Colts, this is a team that damn near made the playoffs with Gardner Minshew, and they did it kind of like mirroring a younger version of us with great offensive line play, great defensive line play, dominate the line of scrimmage, run the ball with Jonathan Taylor, and get wins that way. So kick it off, man. What do you think about this schedule so far? Starting off with that Rams game on Monday night.
Yeah. Like you say,
Was it
you can.
Sunday night? Sunday
Yeah.
night.
Sunday night. Yep.
Yeah.
Sunday night. The NFL is masterful at first of all, having a whole show dedicated to the schedule, man. It's just brilliant on the NFL's cause we was talking about the schedule last month, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Everybody was, that type of thing. Like I said, man, you said it best. We even talked about it during the pre-show. I mean, the Lions could be, a team that may not win more games because people would say this. We was 12-5 last year, made an MC title game, right? And then people automatically, I've talked to some people that think that we should be 14-3 this year or 15-2. And it's like, no, that's not you know what I'm saying? They could win the same amount of game or let's just say they finish 11-6. I mean, I don't think that as long as we win this division again, I think that you're okay
10 and
because
7.
10-7 is good enough. They
I
listen.
mean,
The,
yeah,
the
yeah,
Chiefs
it could
made the
be
Chiefs was
injuries.
11-6 last year, and Chiefs won it
Yeah.
all. So you know what I'm saying. So I don't think people don't get deceived by the win total because we've seen the Cowboys, like last year had, a gang of wins and they lost. You know what I'm saying? I think that as long as we do the key component, the box is still checked on the division, home playoff game, you can go from there. You know what I'm saying? We know we can win on the road, that type of thing. Get into the schedule a little bit. Walt, sorry, I got off a little bit off kilter, but to having the Rams, I think that right now, like you said, man, it's hard to say how many games this team's going to win, but I think everybody can agree that the Lions are a good team, man. You know what I'm saying? It's just barring any catastrophic injuries or something happening crazy, you know what I'm saying, in season, I think we'll be okay. Playing the Rams, playing, I think the Cardinals in week 3, yeah, playing the Cardinals in week 3 has kind of been a house of horrors a little bit, in the past. It just seems like some weird stuff always happens when we play the Cardinals. I think notably the last time we played, I think it was that tie game under Matt Patricia. I think we were up 14, 15 points in the fourth quarter and still tied the game or something crazy. Having the Bucks again here early in the season, I think that's going to be a plus. We talked about Seattle. I'm just going through some of these games. Seattle's been our kryptonite. We just can't beat the Seahawks for some reason. But like you said, I think this year stuff will change. Pete Carroll's not there. I think Seattle, the team as a whole, has really changed. So I think the Lions are better than Seattle. So I think, you know what I'm saying. I think the biggest challenge of I think that just going through it, just based off what I saw, and correct me if I'm wrong. I think the division. I think the division games are going to be way more tight than last year. I mean, we had some success, but the Titans is a win. You know, the Jaguars is a win here. I got us splitting with Green Bay, Minnesota, and Chicago. I don't think the division is going to be a slam dunk like everybody thinks it will be. You know what I'm saying? I think Caleb Williams can play, despite, his quirkiness or whatever you want to say. I think the Bears, Vikings, and Packers going to be formidable, man. And I think that more so, not so much the Vikings, that I think that they're a better team than us, but I think that the biggest question mark to me are the Packers. Are they better than the Lions? You know what I'm saying? I mean, I've been thinking about it. I've been thinking about this the last month. Like, are the Packers, are they better than the Lions? Really, player for player, quarterback for quarter. You know what I'm saying? If you look at their roster, the Packers are the team. You know, I hate the Packers, but you gotta give them credit. I mean, Jordan Love has been fantastic, man. You know, he was great. He showed me that he is one of the top, 4 or 5 quarterbacks, especially in the NFC. You know what I'm saying? I can give him to that. So I think the biggest test is going to be late in the season, playing the 49ers, playing Buffalo here. You seem to think that maybe Buffalo may be taking a step back. I do too. I don't. I think their window is closed, if you ask me. But that's another team that the Lions just can't seem to beat with Josh Allen. So having said all that, I love the schedule. I love having a tougher schedule because I think that this is really what we need. You know what I'm saying? It's not going to be any games off for this team. Remember last year we played the Panthers and we played the Bears twice. And even though the Bears was a pain in the ass last year, but those easy games, they're hard to come by this year on this schedule. You know what I'm saying? And I think that that's what this team needs. I mean, they need to bring it every week. So,
Yeah.
and that's going to bring out the best in them. So I'll let you go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to talk
No,
so
I got
long,
you.
but
No,
you know what
we
I'm
go.
saying?
Yeah, we still got a lot more to dig into with that schedule, but yeah, I mean they're hunted this year.
Mm-hmm.
You know that's for sure. That's for sure. I think what's key with them, at least with the division, I say we beat the Vikings twice. I think the Vikings going through a situation right now, unless JJ McCarthy hits one of those CJ Stroud-esque type of rookie seasons. I don't think that's
Mm-hmm.
going to happen. I think JJ's got a lot of learning to do, adjusting to the NFL level. Also, going from Jim Harbaugh's offense here at Michigan, which is ball protection, defense, run the football, limit the quarterback's ability to make mistakes. And you go from that until Kevin O'Connell's offense, which is a lot more pass happy downfield open play for the quarterback, a little more complex. There'll be a lot more on JJ's plate. But I say all that to say this. I think we're going to catch JJ, Minnesota, and O'Connell in a situation where we're just better than Minnesota right now. So I think we beat Minnesota twice. I think we split with Green Bay again. I also believe we split with Chicago. Could we very well beat Chicago twice too? Yeah, I think it's possible.
Mm-hmm.
But I think we get at least 4 wins out of our division. You believe that they're gonna sweep the AFC South? I don't think they're gonna sweep the AFC South, mainly because, and I want to go into the schedule right quick to make this point. When I go down to when we start playing those teams, I don't like the fact that you're talking about in a 5-week span. We've got at Houston, host Jacksonville, at Indianapolis. Actually, we're gonna start with going before that. You talking
Mm-hmm.
about hosting Tennessee, at Green Bay, at
Yeah.
Houston, host Jacksonville, at Indianapolis. So we play the entire AFC South in a month span.
In a month span.
I don't like the fact that when it comes to that, and it happens, we're not the only team that had to play that part of a schedule, but it's kind of a crapshoot when you're playing 4 different teams that you're not not company, but 4 different teams that you're not really
accustomed to
acquainted. Yeah,
playing.
you're not accustomed to playing them.
Yeah.
Now granted, they don't know much about you either, but you're talking about a situation where we don't know much about them. Can they possibly get us in a bad matchup on any Sunday and beat us? It's possible. But
Oh yeah.
I'm not really as sold on Tennessee as a lot of other people are, but I do think
Me
they've
either.
improved a lot. The roster has. My main issue with them is Will Levis
Mhm.
and my lack of confidence in Levis. But overall, roster wise, I think they've improved a lot. I think the Indianapolis Colts, I've pretty much been tooting their horn since last season because I like football teams that win a lot in spite of not having, that key guy at quarterback. Teams that display character. The head coach did it, the defense did it, the offensive line, which hadn't been healthy for like the last 2-3 years, Quentin Nelson, all those guys, they were
Mhm.
healthy in 2023. And you saw what the Colts were able to do when those guys are healthy and you got a healthy Jonathan Taylor in the backfield. You got a guy like DeForest Buckner in the middle of your defense, along
Yeah.
with Grover Stewart, one of the most underrated nose tackles in football.
Yeah.
When you run the ball well and you can dominate the line of scrimmage on both sides of the football and play good defense, you can win 8, 9 games, maybe 10 games. Houston, Houston is like the young rock star team in the NFL right now. They're everybody's, well, some people's chic pick to make the Super Bowl, which I can understand why that's a loaded roster with a good young quarterback for that matter and young coach. Jacksonville is a team kind of going through growing pains right now with Trevor Lawrence. As an organization, they're not sure right now whether or not he's their guy long term. Of course, he's going to get paid, but there's a lot of questions going on with those teams. But it's still kind of shaky with me when I look at the fact that we got to play an entire division in a month span. Not to
Yeah.
mention we got tough emotional games also out there with Green Bay. So we'll have no idea what type of situation we may be in against those teams. It could be a tight, tough, emotional game against Green Bay, win or lose or draw. We could be drained going into a situation against Tennessee or Houston or somebody. Those are some major games you got going on right there. Um, Also, I think what's really key, a lot of fans have complained about the fact that we got our bye so early. Yeah, they
Yeah, I
gave
don't
us our
like
bye
that.
so early. It's week 5. I mean, week 4 for that matter. And then
That's
we go
tough.
into, yeah, I get it. But I will say this. They looked out for us towards the end of the season. Because if you look at what goes on towards the end of the season, once you get to the Indianapolis game, Sunday, November 24th,
Uh-huh.
you're talking about at Indianapolis, come back home, host the Bears,
Thanksgiving,
host the
yeah.
Packers,
Yeah.
host the Bills, then drive down I-94 at Chicago. You're talking about 6 weeks of not driving past Indiana.
Yeah. That
So yeah, so I think, granted, we got our bye real early, but they also gave us a break towards the end of the season before we head into that monster game at San Francisco. So we got a good month. We got a good
mhm.
6 weeks actually to chill. Of course,
Yeah.
we got games to play, but our dudes, we ain't got to worry about all this constant flighting across halfway across the map here. We ain't got to worry about going all the way to play the Rams then and coming all the way back down for a game at the New York Giants. We don't
Yeah.
have none of that. So we can chill. We got Bears and we got Colts. So we're in a situation where, listen, we ain't got to drive too far down 94.
Yeah.
We all good. So granted, I do understand that a lot of fans don't like the fact that we got the bye so early. But them games early kind of, those were tough, potentially tough emotional games. You talking about that game week 1 against the Rams. That's going as long as Stafford's there, that's gonna be a big game.
Mhm.
That's just how it
Yeah.
is. Then the Bucks, we started the season out with 2 teams we beat in the playoffs. You think the Rams don't want to beat us? You
And
think the
Tampa.
Bucks don't want to at Arizona, which should always be a trap shoot. I mean, a crap
Mhm.
shoot for a lot of teams. The Seattle game, I just view it like this. Yes, we've had a lot of bad luck against Seattle the past few years. Even going back to Stafford being here, we've had issues beating Seattle. Pete Carroll is gone. That whole staff is gone.
Yeah.
That's a brand new staff. Granted, that's a very, very talented football team, though.
Mhm.
Especially on defense. They got a ton of corners that they can throw out there at us. So I think it's still
Yeah.
going to be a tough game. But Monday night, Seattle, the history that's going on. We know the history. Head coach over there in Seattle, he don't know the history, but we know the history as fans. Dan Campbell and them, they know the history. And
Mhm.
now, Monday night, big game against Seattle. You want to make sure you beat them because you don't want a loss to them to come back and bite you in the behind later on in the
Mhm.
season.
Yeah.
I think we beat Seattle. I think
Yeah.
we beat Dallas too. I think we beat Dallas too. I just think that
Mhm.
there's a chance that early on in that schedule somewhere between Rams, Bucks, Cardinals, Seahawks, we drop one of those. It could
Mhm.
potentially be the Bucks game because I think Tampa is still a good football team.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just me being overly worried about it and overly respecting the opponents. But to me, I don't think we start 4-0 or 5-0 the way a lot of people believe.
Yeah, yeah, I was one in the camp for 4-0. Yeah, because what did the Rams come in here motivated and win the game? You know what I'm saying? I can see that happening. You know what I'm saying? I can see that's pretty much the only thing Stafford hasn't really done yet was beat the Lions. You know what I'm saying? As a member of the Rams. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So he's gonna be
No, he
super
did. Remember the
motivated.
first season when they
He
was
did. Oh, that's
when they
right. We
when they
went
was
there.
clowning us and they was
That's right.
everybody across the league, Chris Collinsworth and everybody was patting him on the back. Put
That's right.
poor Matthew for getting out of there, getting out of that dump in Detroit. We knew it was all their fault and not yours. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, that was the game.
That's
I
when they got
remember.
us.
Yeah, that was the first year when we won 3 games. I remember because Swift ran a long touchdown in that game, and I remember Dan Campbell was pulling out. I think we did a fake kickoff or something, fake punt or something. He put out all the stops, and then I think they eventually won the game. Yeah, you're right, Walt. But looking back, looking forward to the Texans in November. If you look, moving forward, I just hope, both teams are relatively healthy. You know what I'm saying? So we have a good game. The Lions and Texans. I mean, that could be Super Bowl preview. I mean, make no mistake
True.
about it. You know what I'm saying? I don't think that's far fetched at all. I love the Houston Texans. I think that they're one of the up and coming teams that last year they showed, what they can do just all on the fly, so to speak. And now they've been steadily building that roster, got even better. You know what I'm saying? Like the Lions. I think they're like damn near the same mirror image as the Lions, but they got a much younger quarterback. You know what I'm saying? That performed in his rookie season. So getting, better running game. The defense they made better. Texans going to be a hell of a game Sunday night football. I love the Lions are in that spot. I'm interested to see the Bears. I really am. I think this Caleb Williams intrigues the hell out of me, man. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't know. I know he can play, you know what I'm saying? And I know what I saw, you know what I'm saying? But I want to see it translate to the NFL. You know what I'm saying? If he just, let's just say, if it works out for Chicago and he's like their franchise quarterback, I think that's a situation for the Lions. And I think the Lions, just getting back to the offseason moves and everything like that, I do believe that Brad Holmes did an exceptional job to try to, I think this division, well, we'll talk about it more as the weeks go by closer to training camp, but I think that we turn it into the AFC West, man. I think that we're going to have to score some points. Remember we was talking last year, 20-17 might do it in this division last year, but I don't know, man. If you don't score 28, you know what I'm saying, 27, 28 points on a regular basis, week in and week out with the NFC North, I don't think you're going to win. You know what I'm saying? You can push the defenses aside. I do think all the teams are better in the North. I really, even the Vikings. I mean, the Vikings, I think the Lions are better, but I do think that they have improved their team, man. You got to give them all credit what they did. They paid Justin Jefferson, talking about the Vikings. The biggest question mark with them is JJ McCarthy going to start, you know what I'm saying, or is Sam Darnold going to start
Well,
the season?
I want to ask you that real quick. Would you have done it? Because my thing is, as much as I love Justin Jefferson as a
Mhm.
player,
Yeah.
I can't see myself paying a receiver that much. Depending on the type of receiver is, I was watching Spirit of Detroit podcast. Make sure y'all go ahead over to YouTube
Oh
and
yeah. Yup. Spirit of
subscribe
Detroit.
and like that. He
Yeah.
had Stephon Logan on there a couple weeks ago, and Logan made the comment that he felt like he would have paid St. Brown, which I understand. but he was kind of, skeptical on making Amon-Ra St. Brown the highest paid wide receiver in football. I'm kind of skeptical on that as well because I think for a team like Minnesota in the situation they're in, I can't see myself paying a wide receiver that much. When you look at, especially when you look at what you could have gotten for him,
Mhm.
um, if I'm Minnesota, I'm behind, and I do understand this. Minnesota, that organization, they fight. They're not into just wrapping things up, packing everything up, and saying let's just tank. Because if that's the case, they could have easily tanked or chose to tank when Jefferson got hurt and missed that stretch of games. And they brought Josh Dobbs in. They won a couple games with Dobbs. And it's
Mhm.
like, damn, like this Vikings team just won't go away.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Bad
now
Jaren
it's like,
Hall.
yeah.
Yeah.
But if I'm Minnesota and I take a look around the rest of the NFC East, East, NFC North, that is, we're not better than Detroit. That's if we're being honest and we're looking ourselves in the mirror as Vikings fans or the organization in general. You're not better than Green Bay. You're not better than Detroit. And at this current moment, the Chicago Bears are trending up more than you are. They've improved their roster a lot more over the last 2 years than you have.
Mhm.
So, if it's Minnesota, I just don't think they're at the point in time right now where they can compete with us consistently. Now, it's a divisional game. We
Yeah.
felt the same way about the Bears last year. We felt that the Bears last offseason should be 2 wins for us. But
Yeah.
what happened? We damn near lost 2 games to them.
Right, right. Yup.
You
Division,
know,
throw the records out. I agree. You know what I'm saying? I agree. The Packers, I just think the division gonna be fun, man. You know what I'm saying? Those Packer games gonna be great. You know what I'm saying? Given the time we play the Packers with a week, I think it's we go to their place in week 8, I think.
was it
And then they
November
come,
2nd or something? Let me
yeah,
see.
and then they come here week 13. So
November 3rd. Yep.
yeah, yeah, I love that. I love the, and then we don't play the Bears till week. Another thing, we don't have to play the Bears till Thanksgiving, and then we play them again in week 15. You know what I'm saying, in Chicago. So I think both of those, that's gonna be key too, because I think we're gonna know a whole lot about this team before we play the Bears and the Packers. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's gonna be nationally, like, now it's gonna be a big deal. Think about it, Walt. I mean, we could be, 6-2 at the time we play the Packers, 7-1, something like that. The Packers could be in the same boat. So I do believe that it's gonna be, these games are gonna be like nationally talked about. You know what I'm saying? The lines are in the conversation. Everybody's why, like you said, Walt, being hunted. I think that's the number one thing for this season. And I love that Dan Campbell's already got that mindset. You know what I'm saying? He's already like, listen, we're the hunted. You know what I mean? Everything we did last year, it's fine and dandy. We got that banner up, at the first time and God knows how long. But now
Well,
we got to
everybody
sustain.
knows you now. Like they've
Right, we
been
got to
they've
sustain
been
it.
studying you. They know,
Yep.
okay, not only just to beat you, but it's like, okay, you know what? We couldn't run the ball worth a damn last year. What made Detroit's running game? What made their rushing attack so great? Like these coaches,
Mhm.
these offensive coordinators around the league, they take your tape and they break you down and steal what they can steal. So it's
Mhm.
not going to be as easy, I think, with those same run concepts to do it this year.
Yeah.
The passing concepts may not be as easy because now you got 3 full years of opposing defense coordinators knowing exactly what bothers Jared Goff, knowing exactly what may bother Panay Sewell.
Yeah.
Even though I think he's all world out there and he's one of the
Mhm.
top 2 tackles in all of football for that matter. But you get my point. But it's
Mhm.
they know you now. When you some weak, raggedy ass football team that's constantly losing, they just roll the football out there and they figure, okay, you know what? A team like Detroit might jump up and beat us, but it's a real good chance that they gonna shoot themselves in the foot. And as long as we play a B minus game, we can beat Detroit. Like
Mhm.
this ain't the same team no more. So now they going through a couple extra days of prep film wise for you.
Yeah.
It's a lot that's changed over the last few months. And personally, I think for people who look at this as the same old Lions or co-workers you and I may have, who view this as, oh, you know what? The air on the side of being confident in the fact that I think this team isn't going to get there, I'm going to always make sure I hold on to a little bit of doubt.
Mhm.
And those are those fans that just feel like, you know what, they just waiting on the other shoe to drop. But I think for those fans, you got to look at What are the ingredients that go into making a good football team? Good offensive line play,
Check.
good defensive line play,
Check.
quality running backs,
Check.
not just one, but two or
Hmm.
three.
Yeah.
A pass catching tight end,
Check.
at least one stud wide receiver, and other
Check.
guys that can step in and fill voids.
Hmm. Hmm.
The ability to stop the run on defense.
Check.
Playmakers in the secondary, high caliber safety play. Um, these are culture. A head coach that has his finger on the pulse of his team.
Check. And
If
what
you
about
take the helmet away and you just put this team up here, you'll love them. But since it's a lion on that helmet, they just want to hold on to the negative doubt. And I get it. But at some point in time, whether you're a local fan or you're a national fan, you got to take a step back and you got to view this team for what they are. They're a damn good football team.
yeah. Yeah, you're right. Well, absolutely, you nailed it, man. Talking about, you know, all the boxes that's checked. You know what I'm saying? And I think that for number one, it's important, man. I mean, for us as fans, us in the media, us, we've seen it and we've directed all of our attention to it, and now we sit here here on June 9th, 2 months away from the start of preseason, and the Lions, make no mistake about it, I mean, they're not going to sneak up on anybody. And you know what I'm saying, like last year teams probably didn't take us serious, especially at the beginning of the season. You know what I'm saying? Now I think that and one other thing that I think, Walt, that you left off the checklist was Jared Goff. I think that having Jared Goff, man, he's savvy vet. Whatever you want to say about Jared Goff, all I know is this.
Year 4 in his offense.
Yeah, I just know, and I think I made the post on Facebook, man. I think I would take him over damn near all the quarterbacks in the NFC. You got me with Jalen Hurt. Okay, you got me with Dak Prescott. I don't think so, but other people do. Whatever. If you want to say Prescott's better and you want to say Brock Purdy's better, you know what I'm saying? Or some people even put Matthew Stafford in front of him, and that's fine too. Stafford won the Super Bowl, that type of thing. So I make no mistake about it. I'd rather have Jared Goff right now in this state of the Lions team. I think is what's needed. You know what I'm saying? For this team, this veteran laden, coaching staff that expects to win. I think that Jared Goff's the perfect guy to have right now. You know what I'm saying? And you already hear,
calm and
good,
steady.
Yep, calm and steady. You hear great, and then another thing. Well, I mean, you hear good things about Jameson Williams, man. At least I have. Early observations as a kid ready to play ball now. You know what I'm saying? We've been waiting for it for the last 2 years, and I think it's going to be the year that he. I'm not saying he's going to be a Pro Bowl player, but I think that the explosive plays, we'll see it. You know what I'm saying? I think that I like that, mini camp, like voluntary mini camp. He was there. You know what I'm saying? You seen him working with his quarterback. It just feels like the Lions are, they expect to win. And I think that's the difference. I think last year, and like you said, while you're talking about Jack Campbell, I think he's another guy you've been hearing good. At least I've heard some good things about Jack Campbell. You know what I'm saying? Like, he rated linebacker core is not the Achilles heel of this team anymore. You know what I'm saying? And I think this year's just going to be better in that regard with that room. You know what I'm saying? With the experience, and now, and that's why I love they stuck with Dan Campbell from the beginning, because now this team knows under Campbell that they can win. You know what I'm saying? And I think, man, Walt, when a team can't think they can't win, or the coach, they don't believe in the coach, or whatever the case may be, the Lions don't have none of that, man. They don't have no doubts, no distractions, none of that crap. You know what I'm saying? At least if they do, they keep a good job of keeping it in house, because I haven't heard anything.
Well,
You
they
know what I'm
also
saying?
got a roster full of their guys. Like, this isn't a situation anymore where Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes walked into a situation where they were stuck with a bunch of Bob Quinn leftovers, and you got to make it through year one with some of your guys that you drafted But for the most part, the roster is still made up of a bunch of guys that aren't really your guys. Like, this is year 4 of their guys that they drafted.
Yeah, and it's
and
working.
A lot of people aren't really paying attention to. Like, this is still a very young football team with a ton of promise.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think you have to worry about a situation with a bunch of guys revolting. This ain't working, that ain't working.
Right.
Yeah, you know, they made sure that they brought their type of guys in.
Because remember when Patricia was here, I just used him because he was the last one. You just knew it wasn't going to work. You know what I'm saying? After it sounded good and everything, before it really hit the fan. But once they got out there and you seen that it was disaster waiting to happen, you know what I'm saying? And eventually it did. With this team, I think just being a process, being a 3-win team to being a 9-win team, barely missing the playoffs on the last day of the season, and then turning around and go as far as they did, the progression is there. I like the experience, you know what I'm saying? And then you parlay that into this year with a tougher schedule against playoff teams. Listen, that's another thing. It's going to be some elite quarterback play, but I think that the Lions kind of get a break. Because if you think about it, looking at early, like you was talking about Will Levis, and you was absolutely right. I was a Will Levis guy. Maybe Will Levis may turn out to be something. I mean, I'm not saying he's not, but you look at Stafford. Okay, I'm just looking at week 1. Then you play Baker Mayfield. Kyler Murray, Dak Prescott. You know what I'm saying? Geno Smith, Trevor Lawrence. CJ Stroud, Anthony Richardson, barring any injury, Josh Allen, Brock Purdy. You know what I'm saying? I mean, the quarterback play, our guy is just as good as any of those guys. I mean, that's how I look at it too. You know what I'm saying? Because you usually when we play, like the years we played Aaron Rodgers and he played Stafford, but we knew that end of the bargain. Stafford was just as good as Aaron Rodgers, or maybe Aaron Rodgers was a peg up on Stafford, whatever. But we knew we didn't have a team to match whatever they was doing, right? So now I just look at, like you said, Walt, both sides of the ball. We can compete with any of those teams now. I think that ain't even any issue anymore. You know what I'm saying? Thinking we don't have enough talent, or our defensive line's not good enough, our offensive line. I mean, man, this GM, coaching staff, organization has really did a good job of getting a guy like Kaminsky that can battle. You know what I'm saying? May not be the most talented guy, but he damn sure gonna play his ass off. Melifonwu, like you said, guy they stuck with and turned out to be maybe a guy you can count on, coming into this season. You know what I mean?
Potential weapon.
You keep a guy like Khalif Raymond around, and rightfully so. Khalif Raymond is a hell of a veteran guy to have in that locker room. You know what I'm saying? He's not a guy he even said as much as, Amon-Ra St. Brown. I was going to say he's not a guy that's maybe going to be jealous of St. Brown or thinking he deserved more money himself.
J-Mo.
Yeah, them guys they said they was the first ones to congratulate St. Brown. They know. And then Khalif Raymond even said it. I heard about his mouth. He says, St. Brown makes me work harder. You know what I'm saying? St. Brown,
because I think players have a mutual respect for guys who got it out the mud, so to speak. Like Amon-Ra St. Brown been a hard worker his whole life. His dad was Mr. Universe, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Been a hard worker his whole life. He came in as a 4th round pick. He been slept on his whole career. Like, dude legitimately worked his ass off to get the money. He wasn't some entitled 1st round pick that just got paid simply because, you was a 1st round pick. So in theory, we have to pay you. That's why I think they have more respect for a guy like him.
And I think people look around, Walt. I'm telling you, man, I don't think the narrative around the league, before the Lions last 2 years under Dan Campbell was, I think we even said this in past shows that other players was like, this just a place I'm getting a damn paycheck. And I'm not, you know what I'm saying? I ain't working hard. The coaching staff, these guys can't tell me now.
I ain't working. Huh?
I ain't even working. They better ask me to do shit. I ain't doing it. That type of thing.
So as soon as you done signed the contract, he done slid it back across the table.
Right.
Where the break room at?
Right. Where the break room at? Right. So I think that that stuff is gone, man. I think that
Yeah.
player, and then they see that the Lions actually pay their players, man. You know how huge that is to pay Goff, Sewell, and St. Brown. I mean, that other teams, other players see that. You know what I'm saying? They see how they treat their players. I think Eric Ebron one time said as much, like the organization was a joke. I mean, even though Eric Ebron ain't, you
He was
talk
a
about
joke
him,
too.
he was a joke, but that was the narrative. I do think, like Darius Slay, I think those guys, Glover Quinn, those guys wanted to be here. I just don't know if it was like the right timing for those guys to I wish we'd have a Glover Quinn, and Darius Slay, just we got our own guys right now. But what I'm saying is, I would have loved to have a Glover Quinn, what's the other, Quandre Diggs, Slay play for this coaching staff. I think a lot of players. I mean, I think it would be totally different. You know what I'm saying, of the outcome. And then you got to have talent too. Now it does help. The Lions drafted, Sam Laporta, and he can play. You know what I'm saying? Jahmyr Gibbs, Penei Sewell, uh, soon to stay tuned, Jameson Williams, Aiden Hutchinson. Those guys are talented players. They can play. You know what I'm saying? So um, now I think that now we have to just align ourselves with, being smart and as an organization. I think that, David Montgomery may be on a pitch count right now. You know what I'm saying? What I'm saying is maybe, drafting Vaki, a guy who sounds like he's maybe more of a running back because the secondary super crowded for him. So maybe, Dave Montgomery may not get 25 carries. Maybe you limit it to 15 or 16. You know what I'm saying? Maybe Jahmyr Gibbs gets a lot of the carries this year. Young legs, definitely a playmaker all any spot on the field. So I just like how the positive reinforcements, man, with this team. Like I said, the Cam Sutton thing was really the only negative thing to happen. And I think it was something wasn't it something with practice or something? The last couple days, it was something with the I don't know what it was. Well, I remember, was it like some illegal uh practice or something? Maybe I don't know what they were doing, like anything bad, but maybe it was the timing thing when they was practicing or having pads on or something they're not supposed to or something like that. But this team hasn't had any negative nothing, man. And I think they did another thing by taking care of their players where it's not going to linger into the season. You know what I'm saying? That you get a disgruntled St. Brown, maybe, when the stuff start going. Look at the Eagles last year, Walt. They was cruising. They was what, 10-1? And then something happened internally, man, and they just that team was just excuse me, not the same team. You know what I'm saying? So things can go very quickly in the NFL, whether it's coaching, players beefing or even an injury. I mean, that's the only thing what I can see derailing this team this year. If a key guy goes down, they might not can't withstand it, depending on who it is. I'm not even gonna put that in the atmosphere. I'm not even gonna name no names. I'm just saying if a guy gets hurt, that's the only thing what I see, like with this upcoming season, And then we can add some players too. I mean, it's not far fetched by saying when the Lions could add a one guy on offense, and the other guy on defense, because I was talking to somebody who thought, Donovan People Jones could be a guy that really is counted on this year, and he can perform. I think DPJ can play. I mean, I really do. I mean, I've seen him in Cleveland make some plays, you know what I'm saying, especially in the red zone. I mean, he a guy that works the corner of the end zone, in the red zone. I've seen make all the catches and, so maybe a full year with Goff, I mean, a half a year. Now he sees the situation. Now he knows the system. Another off season, training camp, preseason. DPJ might be ready to go. He might be the answer. What I'm saying, Walt, about that other receiver that we need to step up now that Josh Reynolds is not on the roster.
Certainly. You you said it all, brother. I think we excited to be back here on YouTube, man.
Yeah.
We really missed and loved our YouTube family. Trust. Find this page, Lions Avenue. Just type it in, Lions Avenue. You will find us. And we're gonna go ahead and get out of here, man. Greatly, we are happy to be doing these lives, and we have a 2024-2025 season that you and I believe, along with the rest of these Lions fans, will be a very successful football season. Whether they win 12 games or 11 or 14, we expect to be right back in the thick of things. Till next time, Lions Avenue.